The stars looked different from the observation deck of the Horizon *. Commander Alex Reed stood with hands clasped behind his back, watching the unfamiliar patterns of light that marked the edge of explored space. 6 years in the Stellar Defense Force had taken him to many strange places, but never this far from Earth. "Commander, we're picking up something unusual," said Lisa, his communications officer. Her voice carried a hint of concern that made Alex turn away from the viewport. "Define unusual," he replied, moving toward the main bridge. "Unknown vessel, sir. It's big, really big, and our sensors can't identify the material composition." The main view screen showed what could only be described as a ship, though unlike any human craft. It gleamed with an inner light that shifted colors across its smooth surface. No visible engines, no weapon ports, just elegant curves that seemed to bend the starlight around it. "Attempt standard contact protocols," Alex ordered, keeping his voice steady despite the tension building in his chest. This was first contact territory, the kind of moment that made or broke careers. "No response to standard frequencies, sir," Lisa reported after a minute. "Try all bands and alert the crew. Defense positions, but weapons powered down. We don't want to appear hostile." The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency. Alex watched the alien vessel grow larger on the screen as it approached. It was at least 3 times the size of the Horizon *, and moved with impossible grace for something so massive. "Sir, they're opening something," called out Tom from the sensor station. "Some kind of docking bay or..." A beam of light shot from the alien ship, engulfing the Horizon * in a golden glow. "Report," Alex shouted as the ship shuddered. It's some kind of tractor beam, sir," Tom said, his voice filled with awe rather than fear. "They're pulling us in, but gently. Systems remain functional." Alex made his decision quickly. "Stand down. If they wanted to destroy us, they would have. Let's see what they want." The Horizon * was guided into a cavernous bay within the alien vessel. The interior glowed with the same shifting colors as the exterior. As the ship settled onto a smooth platform, Alex organized a small reception team. "Full environmental gear," he instructed. "We don't know what's out there." The airlock cycled, and Alex led his team of 5 onto alien territory. The atmosphere in the bay was breathable according to their instruments, but protocol demanded caution. They didn't wait long. A section of the wall shimmered and parted like liquid, and through it came beings unlike anything in Earth's records. They were tall and slender, with skin that seemed to glow from within. Their movements were fluid, almost musical in their grace. Most wore simple garments that flowed around them like water, but one figure stood out. She, for something about her presence read distinctly female to Alex, wore an elaborate headdress that captured and redirected light in hypnotic patterns. Her garments shimmered with embedded crystals, and the others moved with clear deference to her position. "That's royalty if I've ever seen it," whispered Dr. Kane, the team's xenobiologist. The alien entourage stopped several meters away. The apparent leader stepped forward alone. Alex did the same, removing his helmet as a gesture of trust after checking that the air was safe. The alien queen studied him with eyes that shifted between deep purple and bright silver. Then, to everyone's shock, she smiled, an expression startlingly similar to a human's, and closed the distance between them with swift steps. Before Alex could react, she had embraced him. Her touch was warm, her scent like nothing on Earth, reminiscent of thunderstorms and ancient forests. Against his ear, she whispered in perfect, accented English, "At last I have found you." Alex stood frozen in shock as she pulled back, her hand still resting lightly on his shoulders. Behind him, he could hear his crew's murmurs of confusion, and the click of Dr. Kane's recorder capturing every moment. "I am Lyra, Queen of the Celestial Dominion," she said, her voice melodic and clear. "And you, Commander Alex Reed of Earth, are the one we have sought across the stars for generations." "I don't understand." Alex said, stepping back from the alien queen's embrace. "How do you know my name? Why have you been looking for me?" Lyra smiled. Her eyes shimmered like galaxies in miniature. "All will be explained, Commander. Will you join me as Earth's first ambassador to the Celestial Dominion?" Alex looked back at his crew. Their faces showed a mix of fear and wonder. As commander, his duty was clear. Establish diplomatic contact when possible. "I would be honored," he replied carefully. "But I must inform Earth about this meeting first." "Of course," Lyra said with a graceful gesture. "Your ship will remain safe here. You may communicate with your people as needed." After a tense call with Earth Command, Alex received reluctant permission to proceed. They wanted information about these advanced aliens more than they feared the unknown. "Be careful, Reed," General Harris warned through the crackling transmission. "We're sending backup, but they're 3 days out. Until then, you're our eyes and ears." Alex packed a small bag and joined Queen Lyra's escort. Lisa pulled him aside before he left. "I don't trust them," she whispered. "This is too convenient." "Why you?" "That's what I'm going to find out," Alex replied. The interior of the luminary ship was unlike anything human engineers had imagined. Corridors shifted and reshaped themselves as they walked. Lights seemed to flow like water along the walls. Guards with crystalline armor walked alongside them, their movements perfectly synchronized. "Our home system lies 17 of your light years from here," Lyra explained as they entered what appeared to be a transport chamber. "We will arrive in 3 of your hours." "That's impossible," Alex said before he could stop himself. "No known propulsion system." Lyra's laugh sounded like wind chimes. "Your species has much to learn, Commander. We do not push through space. We fold it." The journey passed quickly as Lyra showed Alex holographic displays of the Dominion. Hundreds of star systems, thousands of worlds, all connected by the Luminary's incredible technology. "We have been watching humanity for decades," she explained. "Your development has been uniquely rapid." "You mean we're primitive?" Alex said. "No." Lyra's expression grew serious. "You are adaptive. Where it took my people millennia to develop certain technologies, yours did so in centuries. This adaptability is rare and precious in the universe." The ship arrived at a massive space station orbiting a blue-green planet. Through viewing portals, Alex could see countless ships moving in perfect harmony around the structure. "Welcome to Lumina Prime," Lyra said, "the heart of the Celestial Dominion." Alex was escorted to luxurious quarters. The room seemed to anticipate his needs, adjusting temperature and lighting to his comfort without any controls he could see. Hours later, Lyra returned with several older luminary. Their skin had a deeper glow, and their eyes held a wisdom that made Alex feel like a child. "The Council of Elders wishes to meet you," Lyra explained. "They can better explain why you are so important to us." The eldest stepped forward, studying Alex with ancient eyes. "For generations, our texts have spoken of the balancing force, a species whose unique perspective would complement our own strengths." "Humans," Alex said, understanding dawning. "Yes," the elder confirmed, "but specifically one human whose energy signature would resonate with our queens in perfect harmony. You, Commander Reed." "This is why I recognize you immediately," Lyra added. "What you might call your aura is unmistakable to us." "But why? What purpose does this serve?" Alex asked. The elders exchanged glances before Lyra spoke again, her voice lower and more solemn than before. "Because without this union, neither of our peoples will survive what's coming. The Void Collective has returned, Commander, and only together can we hope to stop them." On a view screen behind them, images appeared of dark ships tearing through space. Unlike the elegant vessels of the Luminary, these looked like wounds in reality itself. "They were once our brethren," Lyra said sadly. "Now they consume all life they encounter. And according to our intelligence, Earth is directly in their path." Alex stared at the images of the Void Collective ships. They reminded him of black holes, not merely dark, but seeming to pull light into themselves. "I need to contact Earth immediately," he said. "If our planet is in danger, we will help you warn them," Lyra assured him. "But first, you must understand why you specifically are crucial to our defense." The council chamber was a vast room with a ceiling that opened to the stars. 7 elders sat in a semicircle, their chairs made from what looked like living crystal. Alex stood in the center with Lyra beside him. "The prophecy dates back 12,000 years, the eldest council member explained. Her name was Tora, and her skin had a golden hue that marked her great age. When the void first separated from us, a holographic text appeared in the air. Strange symbols floated and rearranged themselves into English before Alex's eyes. When darkness returns to consume all light, seek the young species whose strength lies in change. Among them walks one who carries the balanced heart, whose union with the crown will end the ancient divide." Tora read. "You think this means me?" Alex asked, not hiding his skepticism. "This sounds like religious mysticism, not science. To less advanced species, our science often appears as magic," another elder said. His name was Valen. "But there is solid evidence behind our belief." Valen approached and held out a device. "May I scan you?" After a moment's hesitation, Alex nodded. The device hummed softly as it passed over his body. A 3-dimensional image of what looked like a complex energy field appeared above them. It pulsed with a rhythm that somehow felt familiar to Alex. "Now observe the Queen's pattern," Valen said. A second image appeared beside Alex's. The patterns were remarkably similar, with complementary peaks and valleys. Where one showed strength, the other showed receptivity. Together, they formed something more complete than either alone. "In all our searching, we have never found such a perfect match," Lyra said softly. Despite the evidence before him, Alex couldn't shake his doubts. He had been trained to be skeptical, especially in first contact situations. "I need to speak with my people," he insisted. "They sent a communication officer with me. Mark should be allowed to join us." The elders agreed, and soon Mark was escorted into the chamber. He looked wide-eyed at the grand room, but focused quickly on his duty. "Commander, Earth is demanding hourly updates," Mark said. "They're concerned about these claims." "As they should be," Alex replied. "Set up a direct channel." When General Harris appeared on the communication screen, his face was grim. "Read, our analysts are skeptical. This prophecy could be a manipulation tactic. We've seen how advanced their tech is. They could have scanned your neural patterns or DNA to create this supposed match." "I'm considering that possibility, sir," Alex said. Lyra stepped forward. "We understand your doubts. They are reasonable for a species meeting others for the first time." "With respect, Your Majesty," Harris said, "humanity has learned to be careful with those bearing gifts or prophecies." "If I may," Tora interjected, "there is a simple test. Let Commander Reed visit our ancient archives alone. No luminary influence. Let him search our historical records himself." Alex spent hours in the vast archive chamber. The knowledge system responded to his thoughts, showing him centuries of luminary history. The void collective separation was well documented. A faction that had chosen to embrace entropy rather than creation, feeding on energy rather than generating it. What troubled him most were the attack patterns. The void strikes mapped over centuries showed a clear path, one that would reach Earth within months. That night, unable to sleep, Alex walked through the gardens outside his quarters. He found Lyra there, looking up at the stars. "You're still unsure," she said. It wasn't a question. "Wouldn't you be? This is a lot to accept." "Yes," she admitted. "But there's something I haven't shared with the Council or your people." She turned to face him, her eyes reflecting starlight. "Since I was young, I've had dreams of someone with your face, someone who understood things about me no one else could. When I embraced you, I felt it. You know things about me I've never told anyone." Alex felt a strange sensation, like remembering something he'd never experienced. Your favorite place as a child was a cave behind a waterfall, he said suddenly, the words coming from nowhere. You would hide there when the burden of being royal became too much. Lyra's eyes widened in shock. How could you possibly know that? Alex shook his head, equally confused. I don't know. I just saw it in my mind. Now do you understand? She whispered. This connection is real. Before Alex could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the complex. We're under attack, Lyra said, her voice steady despite the panic around them. The Void Collective has found us. Guards rushed toward them as the peaceful garden erupted into chaos. The night sky above them lit up with flashes of energy as the station's shields engaged. We need to get to the command center, Lyra said, already moving. Alex followed her through corridors now filled with rushing luminary. Their normally graceful movements had become urgent, though still coordinated in ways humans never managed during crisis. The command center was a circular room with view screens showing space around the station. Dark ships had appeared seemingly from nowhere, their surfaces absorbing rather than reflecting light. How did they get past our early warning systems? Demanded Valen. They've developed a new cloaking technology, a luminary officer reported. We detected them only when they powered weapons. Alex watched in horror as one of the luminary defense ships exploded in silent fire. The void vessels moved with terrible purpose. They're targeting the northern docking ring, another officer called out. That's where my crew is, Alex realized. Mark and the others from Earth. Lyra grabbed his arm as he turned to leave. You can't go alone. Take my personal guard. 4 luminary warriors joined Alex as he raced through the station. Explosions rocked the structure, and emergency barriers began closing in some sections. This way, the lead guard said, directing them through a maintenance tunnel when their main path was blocked. They emerged near the docking area to find 3 void soldiers already inside the station. Unlike the luminous beauty of the luminary, these beings seemed to drink in light. Their armor was black, but somehow deeper than black, with edges that seemed to blur reality. Take cover, Alex shouted as one of them fired a weapon. The energy blast hit one of the luminary guards, who crumpled instantly, not just wounded, but drained somehow, his inner light extinguished. The remaining guards fired back with weapons that shot beams of concentrated light. 1 void soldier fell, but the others advanced. Alex pulled his own sidearm, standard Earth Defense Force issue. To his surprise, when his shot hit a void soldier, it had more effect than the luminary weapons. The dark figure staggered back. Keep firing, he told the luminary guards. They seem vulnerable to our technology. Together, they forced the void soldiers back. But more explosions indicated the attack was continuing elsewhere. They reached the Earth ship's docking bay to find Mark and 2 other crew members trying to barricade the entrance. Commander, Mark shouted in relief. These things came out of nowhere. We need to move, Alex ordered. The whole station is under attack. As they hurried back toward the central complex, a section of ceiling collapsed ahead of them. Alex and Mark were cut off from the others by debris. Find another way around, Alex called to the luminary guards. Get the Earth crew to safety. Before they could find an alternate route, 5 void soldiers appeared at the far end of the corridor. Alex and Mark ducked into a side room, searching for cover. What are these things? Mark whispered. Former luminary who chose a different path, Alex replied. They feed on energy, including life energy. The door burst open. 3 void soldiers entered, weapons raised. One grabbed Mark, who cried out in pain as his strength began visibly draining. Something snapped inside Alex, a protective rage unlike anything he had felt before surged through him. Without thinking, he thrust his hand forward. A blast of pure energy shot from his palm, striking the void soldier holding Mark. The dark figure flew backward, releasing Mark as it crashed into the wall. Alex stared at his hand in shock. The other void soldiers paused, then aimed their weapons at him. Before they could fire, Lyra appeared in the doorway. Her hands glowed with intense light as she directed energy at the remaining attackers. Together, her light and Alex's unexpected power forced the Void soldiers to retreat. Mark looked at Alex with wide eyes. "How did you do that?" "I don't know," Alex answered honestly. Lyra approached him, her expression both concerned and amazed. "I do. The prophecy spoke truth. Humans have latent psionic abilities that complement our energy manipulation. Is that what just happened?" "I used some kind of psychic power." "Yes," Lyra said, "and now the Void Collective knows it too. That's why they attacked so suddenly. They must have detected our connection growing stronger." An explosion larger than the previous ones rocked the entire station. Lyra received an urgent communication through her personal device. "They're retreating," she said, relief evident in her voice. "But they've taken prisoners." "Who?" Alex asked, though he already feared the answer. Lyra's eyes met his, filled with regret. "Several of my people and your communications officer. They took Mark." Alex turned, but his friend was gone. "Not that one," Lyra clarified. "The female officer from your ship. Lisa." "We have to go after them," Alex insisted. The emergency council meeting had been going for hours, with the luminary leaders discussing strategies and possibilities while he grew increasingly frustrated. "Commander Reed," Elder Taurus said gently, "the Void Collective's main fleet is beyond our current reach. Their base is hidden in the dark matter clouds of the Nyx sector. I don't care where they are. They have Lisa." Alex slammed his fist on the table, then looked surprised when it cracked under the impact. Lyra placed her hand over his. "Your abilities are emerging, but they're wild, uncontrolled. You would be no match for trained Void soldiers in your current state." "Then train me," Alex said, looking directly into her eyes. "You said our energies complement each other, so teach me how to use mine." The council chamber grew quiet as the elders exchanged glances. "It would typically take years," Valen said. "We don't have years," Alex replied. "Lisa doesn't have years." Lyra stood, her decision made. "I will train him myself." In the ancient chamber, several elders protested, but Lyra silenced them with a gesture. "If the prophecy is true, then traditional timelines do not apply. We must try." The ancient chamber was deep beneath the station, in areas Alex hadn't seen before. Unlike the bright, open spaces above, this room was intimate and dimly lit by crystals that pulsed with a soft blue light. "This chamber was built by our ancestors for deep meditation and energy work," Lyra explained. "The crystals amplify our natural abilities." Alex looked around doubtfully. "How does this help us find Lisa?" "To find her, you must first find yourself," Lyra said. She sat cross-legged on a cushion in the center of the room and gestured for Alex to sit opposite her. "Close your eyes," she instructed. "Breathe deeply." Alex followed her instructions, though his mind raced with worry for Lisa and confusion about his newly discovered abilities. "Your mind is turbulent," Lyra observed. "This is natural for humans. Your species' gift is your adaptability, but it comes with restless thoughts." "How do I quiet them?" Alex asked, eyes still closed. "Don't fight them. Simply observe them, like clouds passing in the sky." For what felt like hours, they sat in silence. Occasionally Lyra would offer a gentle correction to his posture or breathing. Slowly, Alex began to sense something new, a warm current flowing through his body. "That's it," Lyra said softly. "You're feeling your own energy for the first time. It's like electricity, but not painful," Alex described. "Now, reach out with that same awareness. Can you sense me?" Alex concentrated. At first, there was nothing beyond his own energy. Then suddenly, like tuning into a radio station, he felt Lyra's presence, the brilliant, complex pattern of light and warmth. "I can feel you," he whispered in awe. "Good." Now I will share something with you." The connection between them deepened. Images flowed into Alex's mind. Lyra as a child, hiding in her secret cave, the weight of royal expectations already heavy on her small shoulders. He saw her growing up, learning to lead, the loneliness of her position. Then darker memories emerged, the first void attacks generations ago, the history of the schism. He saw how the luminary had once been a single people before philosophical differences led to separation. They chose to consume rather than create. Lyra's voice explained in his mind. They believe the universe is dying, and only by hastening its end can they transcend it. When Alex opened his eyes, tears were streaming down his face. "I felt all of it, your joy, your pain, your people's history. And I felt yours," Lyra said, her eyes glistening. "Your childhood on Earth, the loss of your parents, your drive to explore the stars." Alex realized something profound had changed between them. The connection was no longer theoretical or based on prophecy. It was real, tangible. "The prophecy," he said slowly, "it's not mystical at all, is it? It's based on compatible biology. Your scientists understood this connection was possible." Lyra nodded. "Our ancestors knew that somewhere in the universe existed a species with complementary abilities to our own. They predicted when and where we might find you. And now we continue your training. Each day you will grow stronger." Lyra stood and helped him to his feet. "But we've made enough progress for one day." As they left the chamber, Alex felt a strange tingling at the edge of his consciousness. "What's that?" he asked, stopping suddenly. Lyra concentrated, then her eyes widened. "It's a distress signal. Very faint, but, Alex, I think it's Lisa. The signal is coming from the edge of the Nyx sector," Lyra announced to the gathered council. "Lisa is alive, but her energy signature is weak." 2 weeks had passed since Alex began his training. Each day, his abilities had grown stronger. Now he could generate energy shields, sense emotions from a distance, and connect his mind with Lyra's across vast spaces. "The Void Fleet is concentrated here," Velen said, pointing to a dark area on the holographic map. "Their main base is protected by powerful energy-dampening fields." "Then we don't attack directly," Alex said. "We use a small team. Get in, find Lisa, and get out." Elder Tora looked concerned. "Even with your new abilities, this mission is extremely dangerous. I'm not leaving her there," Alex replied firmly. Lyra stood beside him. "I will lead the rescue team personally." The council erupted in protests. "The Queen cannot risk herself. If you are captured, the Dominion will fall." Lyra silenced them with a raised hand. "If the prophecy is true, then Alex and I must face this threat together. That is our destiny." Hours later, a small stealth ship cut through the darkness of space. Inside, Alex, Lyra, and 6 elite luminary warriors prepared for the rescue mission. "Their base is built inside an asteroid," Lyra explained, showing the schematics. "Lisa's signal is coming from the lower levels." Alex studied the plans. "These energy readings, they're massive. What are they doing in there?" "We believe they're building a weapon," Lyra said grimly. "One that could drain the life force from entire planets." The stealth ship slipped past the outer defenses of the Void Collective base. Using technology that bent light around their vessel, they docked undetected at an unused maintenance port. "Remember," Lyra told the team, "our priority is rescuing Lisa. We avoid combat when possible." They moved through dark corridors where the air felt heavy and cold. Alex led the way, following the faint trace of Lisa's energy signature that only he could detect. "She's below us," he whispered. 2 levels down. They found a lift shaft and descended silently. The deeper they went, the more Alex felt a strange pressure against his mind, like thousands of voices whispering just beyond hearing. "Do you feel that?" he asked Lyra. She nodded, her face tense. The collective consciousness of the void. Stay focused on Lisa. They reached a section filled with holding cells. Most were empty, but in one, they found Lisa. She lay on a narrow bed, pale and thin, but alive. "Commander," she whispered as Alex deactivated the energy field. "You came for me." "Of course we did," Alex said, helping her stand. "Can you walk?" "I think so," Lisa said weakly. "But be careful. The leader, she's..." "Right here," said a voice from the shadows. A figure stepped into view. She resembled Lyra in height and build, but where Lyra radiated light, this being seemed to absorb it. The darkness around her was deeper, more complete. "Hello, sister," the figure said. "Lyra," Lyra acknowledged, her voice tight with emotion. Alex looked between them in shock. "Sister, you never told me the leader of the Void Collective was your sister." "Former sister," Lyra corrected. "Lyra chose the path of light. I chose truth." "Truth?" Alex questioned. "The truth that the universe is dying," Lyra explained. "All stars burn out eventually. All life ends. We simply embrace this reality and hasten it. By stealing the life force of others," Alex demanded. Lyra smiled coldly. "By harvesting it for a greater purpose. And humans, your energy is particularly potent, so adaptable, so resilient. With it, we can finally complete our work." She gestured, and the wall behind her became transparent, revealing an enormous chamber beyond. A machine of impossible complexity pulsed with dark energy at its center. "The Void Engine," Lyra announced proudly. "When activated, it will create a cascade effect across this entire sector. Every star, every planet, every living thing. Their energy will fuel our transcendence." "This is madness," Lyra said. "You would destroy billions of lives." "To save the universe from its slow death," Lyra countered. "And now that we have both of you here, we can complete the final calibration." She raised her hand, and a wave of dark energy knocked the rescue team back. The Luminary warriors fell unconscious, but Alex managed to shield himself and Lyra with his newly learned abilities. "You've trained him well, sister," Lyra observed. "But it won't be enough." As Void soldiers poured into the corridor, Alex realized they had walked into a trap. Their escape route was cut off, and Lisa was still too weak to run. The final confrontation had begun, but not on their terms. "Take them to the core chamber," Lyra ordered her soldiers. "The machine requires their combined energy to reach full power." As Alex and Lyra were marched through the asteroid base, Alex's mind raced. He could feel Lyra's presence beside him, her thoughts intertwined with his through their connection. "We need a distraction," he thought to her. "The Void Engine is unstable," she replied silently. "If we could reverse its polarity." The core chamber was massive. The machine Lyra had shown them earlier dominated the center. A swirling vortex of dark energy contained within crystal and metal. Around it, dozens of Void scientists worked at control stations. "Magnificent, isn't it?" Lyra said, noticing Alex's stunned expression. "The culmination of 1,000 years of research." "It's an abomination," Lyra replied. "You're destroying the very fabric of existence." "We're transforming it," Lyra corrected. "All energy must change form eventually. We're simply guiding that change." Alex studied the machine. His training with Lyra had taught him to see energy patterns, and what he saw troubled him deeply. The Void Engine wasn't just collecting energy, it was corrupting it, twisting it into something unnatural. "You don't understand what you're doing," he said to Lyra. "This isn't transformation. It's destruction." "What would a human know of cosmic forces?" Lyra scoffed. "Your species has barely left its own planet." "That's our strength," Alex replied. "We see things with fresh eyes, and I can see that your machine is flawed." Doubt flickered across Lyra's face for just a moment. "Secure them to the transfer stations," she commanded her soldiers. Alex and Lyra were forced onto circular platforms on opposite sides of the engine. Crystal restraints emerged, binding their arms and legs. "Begin the extraction," Naira ordered. Pain shot through Alex as the machine began drawing his energy. Across from him, Lyra's light dimmed as the same happened to her. Their eyes met across the chamber, and in that moment, their connection deepened beyond anything they had experienced before. In the space between heartbeats, Alex sought everything: the history of the luminary, the true origin of the schism, and the fear that drove Naira and her followers. They weren't evil. They were terrified of a universe they couldn't control. And in that understanding, Alex found the answer. "Naira," he called out, his voice strained with effort. The prophecy wasn't about destroying the void. It was about healing the divide. "Lies," Naira hissed. "Luminary propaganda." "Then why does the engine require both our energies?" Alex challenged. "Because deep down, you know the truth. Light and dark, creation and entropy. They're meant to exist in balance." The engine pulsed erratically as it drew more power from them. Warning lights flashed across control panels. "The system is destabilizing," a void scientist called out in alarm. "More power," Naira demanded. Alex closed his eyes and reached for Lyra through their connection. Together, he fought to her, not fighting the machine, but redirecting it. They stopped resisting the energy drain. Instead, they channeled their power willingly, but with a crucial difference. They shaped it, guided it, transformed it from destruction to creation. The engine's dark vortex began to shift, colors bleeding into the blackness. Purple, then blue, then a spectrum of light no human or luminary had ever seen before. "What are you doing?" Naira screamed. "What the prophecy intended," Lyra answered. "Bringing balance." The crystal restraints shattered as a shockwave of energy burst from the engine. But instead of destruction, it carried healing. Where it touched void soldiers, their darkness lightened, not to the full radiance of luminary, but to a new state of being. Naira fell to her knees as the wave washed over her. Her features softened, the crushing darkness lifting from her form. She looked up at her sister in wonder and confusion. "What have you done to us?" she whispered. "Not to you," Alex said, helping Lyra stand as they approached Naira. "For you. The void and light were never meant to be separated. Your people chose one extreme, the luminary another. But the universe requires both." The transformed engine hummed with new purpose, its energy now flowing outward in gentle pulses that restored rather than consumed. In the days that followed, an uneasy peace began. The Void Collective, now calling themselves the Twilight Harmony, struggled to adapt to their new existence. Not fully light like the luminary, but no longer consumed by darkness. On the observation deck of the luminary flagship returning to their homeworld, Alex stood with Lyra, watching the stars. "Earth will join the Dominion as equals," he said. "Our scientists are already working with yours on joint projects." Lyra smiled. "And us? What becomes of the Queen and her prophesied partner?" Alex took her hand. The connection between them had only grown stronger since the transformation of the engine. "I think we have more exploring to do," he said, looking toward the unmapped regions of the galaxy. "There are stars out there no one has seen yet." "Together, then," Lyra said, leaning against him. Alex nodded, remembering their first meeting, her embrace, her whispered words. Now he understood why she had recognized him instantly. Their energies had been reaching for each other across the cosmos, two halves of a greater whole. "Together," he agreed. "Always."